Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with the very first session of a brand new mini campaign here on the channel. And this game is going to be called Where the Streets Run Red. We're going to be playing Vampire the Masquerade, 5th edition, or at least attempting to. This is the first time that I have ever played or run the system, so bear with me. I know that there are a lot of fans out there who are probably tuning in. Please just be nice. What else? Oh yeah, obviously, I'm going to give the same warning at the beginning of this game that I give on the beginning of all of my games, but especially for this game. If bad language and mature subject matter are problems for you, then this is probably not a channel that you should spend any time on, honestly. No hard feelings, but toodaloo. But if those things don't bother you, then, I don't know, grab a blanket and some popcorn, settle in. Because this is a game about vampires, after all. So it's going to get very gory and violent in the descriptions. I am certain of it. So, hold on tight. I am also going to pass things over to my players so that they can give any kind of introduction that they would like to, tell you where you may be able to find them on the internet or anything that they have going on. And then I think we can go ahead and start. So we're going to start down here with Jose.
Hey everybody, my name is Jose. I'm also known as Shadow Soldier PR. And tonight I'm playing Marco Romero, who's a Tremere. He's from Spain, has long black hair, brown eyes, about 6'2". And that'll be it for me. Do you want me to pass it on to somebody else?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. I'll pass it up to Renee.
That would be you, Rory.
Yes, it's going to take
Gotcha.
me
Okay.
a second to get used
No
to
worries.
that.
You were still looking down, so I was like, I don't know if he understood.
I was starting your Spotify playlist. Yes, I am Rory, and I'm going to be playing Renee Rodin. Probably can't find me anywhere, but I like Vampire the Masquerade. I'm in another game, and I'm running another game. So this is exciting. It's all Vampire the Masquerade all the time right now. So let's go. I will pass it over to Tristan Reeves, also known as Jason.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jason. I'm just a guy that likes to roll dice on the internet with friends. You won't be able to find me much of anywhere right now, as I am taking a mental health break from most things social media. I'll be playing Tristan Reeves tonight. He is a been true hound of the sheriff of Chicago, who is usually tasked with cleaning up riffraff and masquerade breaches. So very much looking forward to that. I want to take just a second, if you guys will indulge me. We've all been involved in same circles of the RPG community for a number of years now, and we got the unfortunate news today that one of our friends, Corey Flagg, passed away recently, and I just wanted to take a moment to remember him. He was a good friend of ours. Played Vampire the Masquerade with Jose and I for a good long while, and I've known him for a number of years, and he's going to be missed. So I will pass it to Sam.
That is a hard act to follow. Appreciate that. But yeah, hi everybody. I am Sam. If my stuff is still out there, it would be under Speak No Evil or Three Gorillas, one or the other. I am playing Brigido today, who is a 200-something-year-old South American man. Well, not so much a man anymore. And I am a toreador with some unhealthy habits, let's say, that we will play with a little bit later today. But yeah, I think that's The Last of Us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, you'll see here in the description of the video, as well as on the marquee and stuff for it, that this game is dedicated to Corey. I got the chance to play with him on a handful of occasions here on the channel and otherwise. And then I had the pleasure of meeting him in person at one of the AtCons that happened. So it is a true tragedy to hear about one of our own kind of passing over. So if you have them, then raise them. Corey, this is for you. All right. So I think without further ado, if y'all are ready, then we can get to this. As humans, we think we understand what it means to live with regret. Hell, some mistakes may even haunt us for decades. But we know nothing of the hollow regret can gouge from a soul who is twisted by their own misdeeds when those memories are measured in centuries. Amid the streets of Chicago, life moves at breakneck speed, a thumping artery that feeds the modern world. Dreams, innovation, and people are pumped through this city every day and every night like swollen veins brimming with blood. Consumed, spent, recycled, the very oxygen sucked from the majority of them before they've even reached the end of their run. But when life flashes its brilliant displays of light, it also creates a shadow. And the brighter that light is, the deeper the darkness it hides. A hip-hop beat bumps from a block party as we fly out over the city. We watch the skyscrapers dissolve into papery ash, dancing in the wind, and leaving only the old city behind. The beat, the rhythm, and the tempo of the music all stay the same, but the song slowly morphs into jazz. We now see Chicago as it once was, almost a century ago. The Roaring '20s were now in their last year, though things showed no signs of slowing down. Prohibition had catapulted business in Chi-Town into the stratosphere, and two gangs had come out on top: the Irish North Side mob and the Italian Chicago outfit. 5 years ago, the leader of the North Siders, Dean O'Banion, had been gunned down, kicking off what is now known as the Bootleg Battle of the Marne. It is now the early hours of February 14th, when Five Keys Vorvalakis pulls up to the curb in a black and white. Who is it that we see come out of the building and get into the police car?
A young man in a finely tailored dark blue suit comes out of the police department. His features a little rosy in the cheeks on a cold February morning, or I'm sorry, not morning, evening. He pulls his jacket too, puts his hat on, and makes for the car, getting into the back with Five Keys. Evening.
You see seated in the front seat of the car, dressed in a police officer's uniform, a face that you've seen before many times. And though this is not the 5 keys that we'll necessarily know in the modern age, in the contemporary year that our story will take place, this man is, even at this stage, full of ambition and of promise. He has a stern rigidness about the way he does things. Everything is meticulous, planned to the last detail. And there are times, I would imagine, Tristan, where just being in his presence is somewhat unnerving. He doesn't waste time with frivolities or kindness or humor. He's very matter of fact. He passes you a small bundle that is kind of wrapped in brown paper and twine, like a cut of meat would come from a butcher. And he says, "Put this on."
Tristan would take it in one hand and eyeball it for a second, but he's learned to not question 5 keys when such direct orders are given. So I'll undo the twine and open up the brown bag and see something in the bag.
It is another uniform, a police officer's uniform.
Without a word, he takes his jacket off and starts to unbutton the vest, the silver vest underneath, undoing his tie, and within a few minutes, he looks as one of Chicago's finest.
Boys in blue.
He'll finish putting his hat on, fixing it just so.
It has that like perfectly polished, like little stiff bill in the front.
You know? Oh yeah, the little checkerboard that goes around the sides there.
Who does the car pick up next?
Perhaps Renee, who would not stand out in his current shape, sitting in the shadows of an alley.
So yeah, it kind of pulls up to the entrance to this alleyway and just kind of stops. And we see, Renee come out of the shadows and get into the car. You're handed a similar package, wrapped in brown paper and twine, and told simply by 5 keys, "Get dressed."
Not even an hello. Okay.
The car squeals as it kind of pulls away. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying he starts to change.
Okay, perfect. Who is the third member that is collected this evening?
Most likely you would all pull up to a hotel that currently doesn't have very much business anymore due to some unfortunate happenstance of a couple decades back. And you'll see a 5'8" man with light brown skin and sandy hair, but well groomed, just basically outside, tinkering with some kind of small object with a little screwdriver. And likely you all park in front of him and expect him to come in, but he just stays there, focused on his little objects for far too long, not noticing that the car is waiting for him to step up.
Kind of idles for a moment, And then there's this, the sound of a horn that's more like something that we would now expect to be on like a bicycle. It's kind of
It jolts Briggs out of his reverie, and a flash of fury goes across his face for a moment before he plasters a mask upon his face again. Oh, I suppose I'm late. Sorry, as I tuck it away, and I go to the car.
No sooner has the suicide door closed that the car takes off once again. Its thin tires kind of leaving small ruts in the mud that kind of covers a lot of the streets here. Who do we see very last to join this strange crew on whatever errand they may be on?
Well, what you actually see is nobody's there, and then all of a sudden he flicks a cigarette that he was smoking, and when you see it in the air flying and it hits the tire of the car, he comes off of obfuscate, and Marco's wearing a black suit with like a black dress shirt, and he just taps the window twice.
Get in.
He'll open the door and get in. Evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Evening, Renee. Good to see you. I just pat him on the back and leave my arm on his shoulder, just kind of give him a nice shake. It's always nice to see you in town.
Yes. Yet again, Chicago, like a second home.
Actually, been a while since seen some of you. Hello, Tristan.
How's it going?
Well, that's good as it always does.
For the two of you who are in plain clothes still, Five Keys kind of pulls a thumb towards the back seat, onto the back seat. I got a little present for you. And whenever you reach beneath the seat, you find 2 Thompson machine guns that have been stowed there. Now, the 4 of you already understand where it is you're headed and what exactly you're going to be doing tonight. You understand also that the real power player behind the South Side gang that you have been working with is not, in fact, Al Capone, like the papers have the public believing. In reality, Mary Josephine Capone has been calling the shots this entire time. And she is, in fact, one of the embraced. This turf war isn't about booze or organized crime at all. All of it, every bit, has been a front. Designed to hide, to obfuscate, if you will, the coup that is now almost completed. Dean O'Banion was in fact the former Prince of Chicago, and his network of loyalists has been almost completely eradicated, except for the handful of ghouls that you are now headed to take out. With extreme prejudice, is what you were told. The reason for the ruse is that your escape will be explained as the police apprehending possible suspects. So you head towards the waterfront to a garage where you have been told that this group of individuals are now waiting to smuggle a shipment of whiskey out of the city. So, is there anything that you would like to say or do, or that we see your character undertaking before we arrive at this garage?
Briggs is immediately enraptured by the Tommy gun, this bright new shiny piece of machinery of the modern era that we live in currently. And he just immediately he checks a chamber, and then he starts taking it apart and just examining it for any flaws and defects and any small meager ways to improve it. And it starts putting it back together. It's like, oh, what a lovely present. I suppose it wouldn't, it'll make up for disturbing my evening.
Marco's gonna look at his gun, and he looks at Five Keys. He doesn't know how to use this thing well. I like to use my hands.
If it won't work for you, then you can pass it to someone else.
Immediately, Briggs takes it.
Fantastic.
And
Dual
as he
wielding.
takes it, Marco takes his dress sleeve and he pulls it back, and then he starts growing like large claws.
Yeah, and the Thompsons, Briggs, you would know they've been like on the streets of Chicago for like maybe 3 years at this point. So this may even be the first that you've actually like seen or held in person.
It is like Briggs is like, finally, it's been so hard to try to commission one. I've tried to make some myself, to varying success, but now I see why. Oh, okay. The belt feeder is where it's at. Mhm. Put the first one back together and set it aside and start to get to work on the second one.
You said there were 2 Thompsons, correct?
There are.
Okay, good. Yeah, I am not one for shooting at people. That's not good at it, to be honest. I might not even stay in this form. You can use me to run down anybody who attempts to get away. I'm not much good on 2 legs.
Five Keys kind of explains the job is to make it look like a hit. It doesn't have to be a hit. It just has to look like it. So those 2 guns need to be emptied into the walls. I want that place to look like the bloodbath that it's going to look like when it's done, but I want it to be explainable. You understand me?
Gladly.
As always, we'll be as efficient as possible. He looks over to Briggs. You just be sure you use that thing on the guys you're supposed to use it on, huh?
Of course. I've no interest in harming any of you. We're all good friends here, aren't we?
Oh yeah, good friends. Good friends.
Well, friends. I mean,
Bag of chums.
ribbons, you hear me? This is it. The North Side is done after tonight. To shreds.
Renee bows his head. Of course.
Won't be an issue.
You
All
got
right.
my void.
Car.
Marco
go
just
ahead.
gives him a win.
The satisfied of your commitment to this situation and reaching the address, the car kind of pulls up out front of this garage, rolling to a stop over the last couple of blocks, cutting the lights, parking just out front. He Five Keys then opens the door and exits. 4 of you walk in through that door right there. Moving around to the back, just in case anybody tries to make a way out that way. And you guys know, like, you have seen Five Keys in action enough that he's probably able to do as much damage as probably at least 2 or 3 of you combined. He is an 11th generation, so he's been around for a while, and he is decently connected and decently well known. You know that if this coup happens, that if this thing is successful, that it's very, very likely that he will be pinned sheriff of Chicago.
Is Tristan aware of his clan?
That's up to you. Of Five Keys' clan.
Yes.
Let's get a roll and find out.
Okay.
Roll some dice. Engage with the rules.
What you want me to roll?
You know,
Storyteller man.
somebody who understood what they were doing would already have that ready for an answer to give you, Jason. I am one such storyteller, as a matter of fact, and I'm not stalling for time at all.
At all.
Not at all. So I think this is definitely going to be intelligence.
Okay.
And maybe insight? No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Unless somebody had a better
Okay.
suggestion. Hey, Jose
Um,
even said insight.
Yep.
insight would work. Etiquette would work.
Ooh, yeah,
Politics
I'm good with
probably
either one of those.
Streetwise could work too. Streetwise.
Yeah, streetwise could work. All of that could work. Doesn't really change the dice pool. So
Okay.
I will just go with your intelligence insight, which
All
is
right.
3 dice for me, and I get 2 successes.
Okay, cool. I think that's perfectly acceptable. 2 successes sounds reasonable for this kind of information. I doubt that it's anything that he really tries overly hard to keep hidden. But he is... Where are you out on my list? Here he is. He is a La Sombra.
Okay.
Okay.
And if I could, as we exit the car, I would like to make a wits awareness check to see if there is if we are in the all clear, if there's nobody around seeing us enter this building as the way we are.
Yeah, okay. I think that's perfectly fine. I think if anybody else wants to do the same, that you can also roll if you'd like.
What is it he's checking for? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Wits and awareness.
Wits awareness. Checking for like witnesses,
Mhm.
Gotcha.
stray people
Given
on
a-
the street,
Given a scan.
whatever. Yeah.
Sorry, not interested. I'm good.
I
Oh, that is-
usually would, but as I get out of the car, see a kind of fairly tall for the day, 6 foot, very slender, shaggy, medium length hair guy step out, shake out his hair, and as I turn the corner, you see a quite large Irish wolfhound rubbing himself up against the side of the brick wall and turning around. So I'm doing that while he's doing this. I did pass, and so I don't get hungrier.
I only achieved 1 success, so I would like to burn a willpower point to re-roll 3 of my dice if I could.
Okay, absolutely.
Hopefully this treats me better. Okay. I got 2 successes, and I got a bestial skull on my hunger dice.
Ooh, does that mean that your hunger goes up by 1?
No. If I failed, if I failed your DC, that bestial would become a bestial failure, and not only would I fail, my beast would have something to say about it, and
Perfect.
could turn
Okay.
things sideways real easy.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it's not really difficult to kind of get a lay of the land. The electric streetlights that have been installed every so often help to illuminate a lot of the streets. There's quite a bit of distance between them that could hide all manner of business, as you well know. But your eyes, especially kind of in the darkness, you don't really see anything. There's a few cars and trucks kind of parked up and down the street, but especially being more of an industrial part of town, it's relatively empty right now. So anyone being out and about would be very easy to spot, and you see nothing of the sort.
Got you. It's good. That's good. I'll check the cylinder on my service revolver and reholster it and get ready to go in.
So Marco was waiting for everybody to get out, and as soon as somebody leaves the door open, he would tell Fikey Slater shoe, and as he looks him in the eyes, his eyes turn red, which is he's using Eyes of the Beast, so he can see at dark at night. And as soon as he stepped out, he steps in a puddle, but you don't hear it because he's using a Silence of Death, so he doesn't make any noise. And he probably just goes behind the vehicle and just ripples out of existence when he turns invisible using Unseen Passage.
All right. So do any of those require rouse checks?
My shape changed.
Unseen Passage
Okay.
does, and I just passed it.
Okay, you pass it. And you, Renee, did you pass yours?
Yes, he did.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes, sorry.
It's okay. I just cannot see you at all, and and you were muted, so I didn't hear you if you said it. Okay, so nothing there. Question for all of you: do we need to roll like the die for having woken up this evening? Do you think that that's something that we should do before we head inside?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we should probably
Okay.
take that into
So
account before we
roll
go
for
any
hunger.
further.
Let's
Roll
see.
for hunger.
Yes.
Oh, I am
Success. I am not.
Oh, okay. So
hungrier. I am
Tristan,
at 2 hunger.
Tristan's at 2.
I got hungry, so I'm at 2.
Okay. Marco is at 2.
I am also at 2 now.
Okay, Renee is also at 2. Briggs, you're just at
This is
1?
gonna be interesting.
Okay, cool. So we have that all squared away. All right, we got some hunger boys. If only there was something that you could do about that. If only there was an all-you-can-eat buffet waiting just on the other side of this door. So what I would like is for the 4 of you to describe kind of what this looks like as you bust into this garage. So this is kind of the front of the garage, where you can hear these individuals kind of talking loudly, probably drinking. And kind of beyond it, in a different room, is where you're told that the trucks are waiting. So, describe to me what it looks like as you kind of get the drop on these goons.
Who else is in a cop uniform?
I am technically in a cop uniform, but I'm
Yeah.
in the form of a dog, so you don't see that.
So, okay, you're in a form of a dog, so I am the only one in a cop uniform, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I imagine that I beat on the door, and anybody that answers, I would put on my best cop voice and try to intimidate my way in. By force if necessary.
And I don't think it's uncommon for dogs to be with cops during this time in Chicago either. So I would come sit on the step next to you like a trained dog.
Oh, for sure.
Marco would also be nearby, like 2 to 3 feet away from you, invisibly.
And I believe Briggs would be at the back door with the surprise Tommy guns.
Oh, if you're going through the back, then I guess I'll go with him to the back so nobody's left behind. Since you have the dog.
So
Okay.
yeah, you can go to the back. Five Keys headed back there. He was going to make sure that nobody comes out that way. But
Oh,
if
that
you,
was his assignment. Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah. No, it's okay. If you would rather go to the back door, we can handle it that way.
Yeah. If 5 Keys is going back, then I will stay with the rest of the group. Then.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Sorry, realizing that what I'm gonna do actually is just wait next to the door, kind of listening in, and the second, like with the expectation being like the second I hear the keyword from Tristan, I'm gonna pop in and just light him up.
All right. So you kind of got your back up against the wall, kind of off to the side, just a little bit. You pound on the door, Tristan, and you hear like the telltale noise of like a glass bottle kind of being thumped over onto concrete. That kind of ting ting ting, and it kind of rolls. And you hear a bunch of shh. The voices quiet down, and then there's a one of those small rectangular like slides about eye level that kind of slides open, and you see a pair of green eyes kind of staring back at you. Yeah, what you want?
Chicago PD, open this door now.
You got a warrant?
I pull up my pistol at eye level as I lean in close. Yeah, I got a fucking warrant. Open the door.
All right.
I want to try to intimidate him if I can.
I was gonna say that sounds like an intimidation roll. So
Right.
let me check his stats.
Charisma and intimidation,
Maybe.
or manipulation.
I think manipulation and intimidation makes really good sense.
Got you.
He is.
I want to rouse the blood to give myself a little bit of an edge on this.
Okay.
I do not get hungrier. I add 2 dice to the roll.
All right. All right. Let's see.
That is 3 successes with an opportunity to re-roll 2 if I need to.
I got only 1 success, so that's a difference of 2.
Awesome.
Which means, you pull this weapon up, and you see the eyes kind of go wide, and you see him kind of take a step or 2 back. Take it easy. Take it easy. Keep it in your pants. You start hearing like the lock on the door being thrown.
As soon as the lock is thrown, and I even hear the click of the doorknob, I want to kick the door in, knocking the guy back.
All right. So,
like to, yeah,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. I was
just
just saying, I want as I sorry, there's a delay, I think.
It's a wonderful dance we're doing, Jason.
As I kicked in the door, what I want is to have my pistol drawn and try to corral them together. Everybody hands where I can see them, up against the wall. Chicago PD, this is a raid kind of deal.
Perfect. So let's stick with manipulation and, well, actually, no, I think this is probably still manipulation, intimidation.
Okay. Rory, Jose, or Sam, can you guys help me? The rousing of the blood for that, is that for the scene or is that for the action?
It's for the scene.
Got you.
Yeah, the scene associated with that attribute.
I think that makes really good sense.
That is 5 successes.
Okay. You can see that you definitely caught these gentlemen completely off guard. They do have weapons on them, but they very, very clearly were not expecting company. And since you have them at gunpoint, they are not going to be trying to go for their weapons, at least as of right now. But you see, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in that moment probably is when Renee like takes off at a jog for a canine, loping down a hallway, them preoccupied, looking, sniffing, trying to locate the larger group that we know is in here.
As the
So-
doors open, Marco will sneak in as well
Mhm.
and get a little bit close to the lineup to see who he's gonna take out.
Okay.
We're still waiting
Would you
on
like-
a code word, yes? Before everybody jumps into action? Is that what we're going on here? Just so I know
That's kind of what it seemed like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like kind of on whatever cue Tristan has kind of decided to give, that that things will get nuts.
Did you want me
Um,
to roll an awareness?
Yeah, if you would, Renee, roll a probably wits and awareness.
Yeah, in dog form, that will be a mental plus awareness. 'Cause
Okay,
their
cool.
stats are just slightly different. But,
That makes sense. They're relying more on instinct.
they just lump all the mental stuff together in one pass. Okay, so that's all my non-hungry were successes. It's a little dark in my room.
I don't hear you very well on your audio.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Shoulder. Hunger dice is a fail, and that hunger dice is a fail. So that is 3 successes.
Okay, absolutely. You find a few in like a back room here, or there. One of them in the restroom. But you have no problems tracking down the 7 individuals that you expected to be here. This is what you are told, at least, is kind of the last scraps of this organization. And more than likely, that's probably why the 4 of you had been tapped for this assignment. This is kind of a relationship building exercise, if you will.
So there's 7 of them, but they're not all in one place.
Not initially,
Okay.
but with you tracking them down and at gunpoint, it's not hard to round them up.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going through and they're all seeing me. And I'm gonna turn around then, head back down the hallway. But before I reach Tristan, like at the end of the hallway, a few feet away from him, I'm gonna howl, just so he knows that this is where everything is.
I suggest you all get out here.
One by one, they kind of congregate in this like front office type area, where the majority of the bookkeeping and the face of whatever this garage, the legitimate business that this garage does, kind of be handled in this room. And in come 7 members of the Northside Mob. They are all dressed very well. You can tell that they are paid incredibly lucratively, but they look like maybe they haven't slept very well in the last several days at least. Several of them have like stubble and full on beards that have already started coming in, and again, they are armed, but none of them are currently going for their weapons. But there's definitely a feeling of they're looking around and noticing that there's 7 of them, and they only see one of you and a dog as of right now. So you can tell that sense of things are becoming electric in this room.
Seeing these connections going on in their minds, knowing what these scumbags are thinking, I want to activate daunt to use my presence to intimidate them as to why that would be a really bad idea.
Okay. So, what would daunt do here? What is that going to give you a bonus to?
I believe it adds my presence to my intimidation. Looking it up right now.
Okay.
I should have had these notated down as to what each
Oh
one
man,
does.
you're all good. I have like 6 different things open and
Okay, so instead of attracting people, the vampire uses presence to repel. This power to user appears threatening and exudes an aura of menace powerful enough to make most mortals avoid their attention. And even vampires think twice about acting against them. It's a free action, so it doesn't cost a rouse check.
okay.
Add the user's presence rating to any intimidation roll. They're required to have a resolve and composure roll at a difficulty of 2.
Okay. Excellent. So go ahead and roll. I think maybe we're gonna slip this into composure this time instead of manipulation, because this is almost like you're having to like immediately crank up your voice of authority in order to try to get your point across to these Goombas.
As
So
the
let's-
rest of them get in the room, what Marco's gonna do is he's gonna go to the ones farthest away from the door because he knows they're bricks. He's gonna come in with the Tommy gun. So
Okay, yeah. Kind of forming a pincer type
Yeah.
maneuver.
exactly, he's
Okay.
pretty much getting right in front of them to pretty much slice some throats.
All right.
And then adding that. Okay, so I've got a dice pool of 6 here.
All right. Go ahead and roll what you got here.
And that is 2 criticals, so 5 successes total.
Wow. Fantastic. Okay. That was versus 4 successes on my end.
Excellent.
So that's definitely a succeed. And you said you got 2 crits?
Yeah, all that does is when there's 2 critical successes, that isn't a bestial one, it doubles those successes as 2. So 2 crits would be 4 successes.
Oh, I see. So just okay. Gotcha. That's what gave you your 5 total. Okay.
Yep.
So there's a difference of 1. So they are sufficiently cowed. They definitely seem to be second guessing whether or not they want to draw on you. One of them kind of looks to the others before turning his attention to you. He says, "What are you gonna do?"
I'm gonna search you, all of yous, up against the wall, nice and easy, hands on the wall where I can see them. Let's play nice, and everybody gets to go home and kiss their sweethearts tonight, huh?
Crooked fucking cops. They all kind of reluctantly do as they're told, kind of turning around kind of one at a time, putting their hands kind of up on the brick wall behind them. You know, most of them kind of shooting you a very, very dirty kind of glare.
And
you know whose garage this is?
Oh, I'm aware. I'm not sure you're aware of the situation you're in, but that's okay. We all make mistakes. Happy Valentine's Day, you filthy animals. And that's the code.
Of course it is.
At that moment, Brig kicks the door open, trains the 2 Tommy guns with 100 rounds in each, and then just starts unloading. I was going to say something, but like, I can't beat that. So
Absolutely. There's
One
the
of
the
them-
Briggs dual wielding Tommy guns is
yep.
way more cool.
There's brick flying everywhere as most of the bullets that you're putting into these 7 individuals goes straight through them at this distance. And the Thompson fires so fast that there's probably just as many, if not twice as many, bullets that miss them as do hit them. But that doesn't mean that a single one of these individuals escapes the carnage that is very quickly delivered to these 7 gangsters. While this is going on, one of them, near the edge, we'll say, tagged with 2, 3, 4 bullets, turns to make a run for it towards the back of the garage, where that these 2 trucks are allegedly waiting with whiskey. But Marco, I think that there's something waiting for him. Some kind of
There's two
surprise.
things.
What does
Yeah,
that look like?
I think as soon as he goes to turn around to run for it, Marco just comes out of invisibility and slashes his throat, and then he does the same to the guy next to him.
What I want to know, Marco, how many bullets hit you
Probably like
from
2.
these Thomas guns? Okay.
He probably yelled like, again?
He breaks. Yeah, you probably see the blood leaking from Marco before you actually realize that you've hit him, given that he's invisible. I think the head that Marco has removed kind of rolls to a stop. His fedora still firmly in place on his head. Is there anything that Renee is doing while this is going on?
Well, at first he skittered away when the bullets started flying. When he saw the one start to run, he began to chase, but he only got about 2 steps before Marco stepped out. And so now he is just keeping a safe distance, as ranged weapons are not really his specialty. Neither is getting hit by them.
Okay. Fair enough. There is enough carnage that takes place in such a short span of time with the capability of these Thompsons. All of you would have heard about the capability of these weapons. Again, only having been on the street about 3 years or so in Chicago at this point, they have made a monumental splash, especially amongst organized crime. So you've heard tell of what these guns are capable of, but you may or may not have seen them in action at this point. This causes so much damage to these mortals' flesh that there is a red mist in this room, illuminated by these kind of overhead lamps. You can see it in the air. What does this airborne, aerosoled blood kind of floating around in this space, what effect does that have, if any, on the 4 of you?
Renee was sitting there panting, and the mist began to be inhaled, breath after breath. And before he knew it, he was rising out of his canine form into his humanoid form and grabbing at the corpse, one of them that Marco had slashed, and lunging into its throat to satisfy his thirst, which he is overcome by.
Okay.
I
And
think at them
is there
being so
a?
close to it,
Mhm.
Marco would probably be covered in blood, so his claws start turning back into hands. He's wiping his face. And he's just kind of like dumbfounded because he's never seen anything like this before.
Griggs is so excited. The smell of blood in the air isn't too enticing right now. I'm not very hungry, but the smell of burning gunpowder and hot metal in his hands. Ah, I like these. I look at Tristan and I'm kind of like raise my voice so that Five Keys can hear me. I'm keeping these.
They
All
didn't
right.
come from me, so I mean, as you were. I look to Renee. Are you still in wolf form?
Mm-mm.
No, I am now feeding, hunched over and drinking.
And is there a role associated with that to possibly reduce your hunger?
No,
Nope.
it's automatic. It usually comes
Oh,
at
perfect.
risk to the mortal. However, this mortal
Oh, yeah.
is bleeding out, so they were in the process of dying anyway. So their fate is
Perfect.
sealed. So I'm going to be draining them, which means, based on the rules, it'll take me the remainder of the scene.
Okay. And how much of your hunger goes away? Is it back to 0?
It's actually to 0. So standard hunger is 1. The only way to get to 0 is by draining someone.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So then Renee is at 0. Excellent. So yeah, you take your time slaking your thirst on this partially decapitated individual, the second of Marcos's victims. Before long, you can hear people out in the street kind of shouting confusion back and forth. And within a moment, you hear the engine of the police cruiser out front crank into starting.
I pulled my face up. That was fast. Faster than I would have expected.
Well, we're only half through here, so let's grab this truck, eh? And I would start to make my way to an office to see if I can find keys for this truck that's loaded up with whiskey, and gonna take this to a friendly bootlegger.
Okay. There are technically 2 trucks.
Okay.
Just as a full disclosure.
Who's gonna grab this other one?
Briggs will go into it and just start to hotwire the car. Start to hotwire the car.
Okay.
I jump in the car with Briggs. I say, "Sorry, I'm of no use. I don't think I've ever even driven one of these."
Oh, perfect. It'll be a fun night.
Just
Oh,
Marco will roll with Tristan.
All right.
Before I get in the car, I step up and point over the door directly at Briggs. Low key. Low key.
That's like a Norse god, right?
you're right. I believe it is.
Oh, yes.
And Marco would yell,
Alright.
"You owe me 2 shots."
All right.
I just now noticed that you got shot twice. I was like, oh.
And we
You
would.
hear that? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my next intention is just to get out of here.
Right. You hear the kind of hung, hung of the horn from the police cruiser, and we see these 2 trucks lumbering their way out of this garage, and being escorted by a cop car marked with the symbology of Chicago PD along its side. I think we're going to go ahead and take a break here, if that's all right with y'all. Okay. We're going to take a 10-minute bio break. Go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, smoke them if you got them, kiss your spouse, etc., etc. We will be coming back in 10 minutes and get to the second part of what we have planned for this game tonight. Sit tight. We'll be right back. everyone. Welcome back from the break. We are here with the first session of Where the Streets Run Red. I forgot to say aloud what the name of this session was. The name of this session is A Night for Bleeding Hearts. So, we have just witnessed a massacre. A massacre that has taken place on Valentine's Day, 1929. Now, the effects that the Valentine's Day massacre has on Chicago and the public opinion of what has been happening under their noses for the last 9 years since Prohibition became law. And organized crime gets a stinky rap now. The public's opinion turns, and Al Capone, overnight, becomes public enemy number one. Chicago's darling, who was cute because he thumbed his nose at authority and ran booze, which kept the people happy, his face is now being used in less flattering headlines. You see his opinion, or the opinion of him, eroding very quickly. The events of this in the non-public eye, however, the effects that this event has had, has catapulted Mary Josephine Capone into the position of Prince of Chicago. She now runs things, and has for the last almost 100 years. As we find ourselves transitioning back into modern day Chicago, into the present, not only has Mary Josephine Capone become the prince, but also, as many might have suspected, Five Keys Varvolakis has been named sheriff and has now served sheriff for almost 100 years as well. But as we make this shift in time back to the present day, where do we find each of you? What do you look like now, and what are we, when we catch up with you, what are you in the middle of?
Go ahead, Jose.
You will see Marco in probably like a office space, and he pretty much looks like a hipster. It's like a white dress shirt with a little blue vest and khaki shorts, loafers. Has a man bun, and he's pretty much has a whiteboard, and he's like running his little like blog business and teaching people what to do, and that's what he's doing at the moment.
Kristen has had an active 100 years under the tutelage and direct employ of Five Keys. His usefulness has allowed him a certain amount of freedoms, and took some comrades from his Pinkerton days and formed a bit of a mercenary group tied very much into security for the Camarilla as a whole in Chicago. My ghouls are in high demand at Elysium functions for security purposes, as well as, you know, your random anarch bashing nights. So Tristan has established an office space / armory in the agreed to domain that we've kind of cloistered ourselves into. With Marcos here in Chicago a lot of the time, and our other two compatriots not quite so much. But Briggs's hotel is also within the domain, and tonight he is overlooking the skyline of Chicago, pondering, how the fuck have I spent so long under the heel of this cocksucker?
You see Renee on a sidewalk, a couple pieces of cardboard underneath him, leaned with his back against the building, and a little notebook in his hand. He doesn't work, but he is watching prey. He has become an expert at his own system of making sure to take people who won't be missed and who do more harm than good. And so he's taking notes on a particular mark that he's had his eye on for a while and scribbling down as he watches him kick a small dog on the side of the road. Son of a, this will not, yeah, all right. You're definitely on the target list, tell you what. And he puts that down and kind of folds his book up and looks around. As you get a good look at him, he's still pretty tall, still scrawny. And he's changed his style a bit from the 1920s, but he has apparently decided to become stuck in the 1980s. He's wearing a Judas Priest t-shirt, leather jacket that's worn at the elbows to the point where you're pretty sure his skin's going to start showing through, and a pair of jeans with rips so wide on the knees it looks like they might come around the other side and turn him into jean shorts.
Briggs has been somewhat active. He not too long after that had to leave Chicago. He's been gone for a little while. He's been around the States and South America a bit. Um, Sometimes with a companion, sometimes not. But has chosen to sometime around 2010 or so, a little over a decade ago, come back to Chicago and get his old building back. He's currently in a nice three-story hotel that he owns. It's currently staffed, and it's um, titled the H.H. Holmes Hotel, aka the Murder Hotel. It's very, what's the word for that? Chitsy, I think it is. It's a tourist trap, is how it's billed. There are people going in and out pretty frequently, and he is usually the front face of it, but you find him currently hiding away in the basement underground in his machine shop, just working away on his different projects, and monitoring several different cameras that he can see the property itself and into several of the rooms where he's laid traps, just waiting for someone to of the fitting type, as Renee would say, to fall prey to it.
All right. Marco, it's kind of getting on in the evening, and most of the people that kind of share this office space with you have gone home. which is not unusual. But there's an intern who works night shifts, and you've known them for a while. They all of a sudden kind of like approach your desk, wherever it is that you're seating in this moment, and they kind of look a little nervous. They're holding an envelope.
Everything all right?
To you, he looks a little pale.
Oh, gotcha. I was asking him that. My bad.
I'm sorry.
I
What,
was
what did you
asking
ask him
that.
again?
Oh, I asked him if everything was all right.
Oh. Yeah.
Are you sure? You can tell me anything. I won't hurt you.
I'm supposed to give you this. And he extends the envelope towards you. He hands it to
Anything
you.
else?
He hands it to you. No, that's it.
You
kind of
know,
like-
why don't you take the night off? I'll throw in like $20. Get a meal or something. You look pale. Yeah.
The cash kind of hits him, like kind of right where his tie kind of meets his shirt, and he bumbles it and kind of grabs it and holds it kind of scrunched up in his fist, where he has his other hand kind of over his fist, and he backs away from you, not turning around, literally just backing straight away from you until he like hits like a wall, like it snuck up on him, and he kind of good night.
Lock
And
the
he
door
turns.
behind you.
And he runs.
I'll open the envelope and see what it says.
Inside, you find an invitation. This is a ball that is thrown every year by the prince, in her rooftop penthouse downtown.
And
You knew that this was likely coming, but this seems overly dramatic, even for the prince's taste. On the back, however, you think you might understand why. Because on the back of this invitation, which is very expensively made, on the back of it, handwritten, is a note that says, "Please arrive 1 hour early," and is signed by Oliver Irving Hardin, the Seneschal of Chicago.
must be really urgent if they want us hour early. So I think he would rush home so that way he can get the best dress clothes that he has. They can be on time.
Yeah, this would probably be, a night or more. Like, again, you're
Okay,
expecting
I
this
gotcha.
event to happen, but they certainly gave enough of a heads up of the invitations going out that people could make plans to attend.
I get you. If it is like that, then and we have time, he would probably go to a place to rent a tux and get a fitting and everything, so he looks really nice. Because his tux is kind of crappy. He doesn't really wear that kind of clothes anymore.
All right. And Tristan, you are
Yes, sir.
at your armory. And one of your ghouls kind of pops his head into the room where you are. He says, hey boss, there's somebody to see you.
All right. And I will stop my brooding, um, straighten my shirt up, my tie, and follow the ghoul.
So you follow up to where the business end of things is usually handled here in your armory. And there's an individual waiting who is very well dressed. Like, looks like might have been going out to a very nice restaurant or a very nice club this evening. A young woman who is kind of very again, not rigid, but just like standing very still, kind of just waiting very patiently for you to arrive. She's not even really moving. She's just kind of standing there waiting for you.
I walk in. When I first noticed her, do I know who she is? Have I ever seen her before?
I think so. She is a ghoul that serves. Let's pick somebody really fun. She serves Ballard.
Oh. Okay. I forget this one's name, but I do recognize her for who her employer is. And I stop in my tracks. I am so sorry to keep you waiting.
She kind of nods, and she kind of looks at you for a second. Marcia. My name is Marcia.
Marcia, that is very fascinating. What brings you to my humble abode this evening?
She says, well, I was sent here to the city to do a few odd jobs for Ballard, but while I was here, I was asked if I could deliver a message. She kind of pulls up her very expensive branded purse, opens the clasp, and pulls out an envelope and kind of hands it to you. Not perturbed, but pretty obvious that she feels that there's probably better ways she could be spending her time.
Trust me, sweetheart. We all feel that way sometimes. And I'll take the envelope. Please give Horatio my best. Can I offer you any refreshments before you go?
She kind of looks at you. You wouldn't happen to have champagne?
I do, as a matter of fact. John.
And one of the men
The
pokes his head in. Yes, sir?
Lady would like some champagne.
Of course, sir. He kind of like looks back and forth at the situation with a little bit of a raised eyebrow, but knows not to question it. And he goes and retrieves some champagne. She says, Ballard mentioned that it's been a while since you've seen him.
It has. Is this a summons?
It is, but not from Ballard.
I'll furrow my brow and open up the envelope.
And you find inside the exact same scenario that I described to Marco just a moment ago. A very nice, embossed, expensive invitation to a party. Again, you were expecting one to arrive, but not like this. This is strange. Flipping it over, you see this handwritten note from the Seneschal as well, asking you to be there an hour early. She says, "Did the prince write you a personal note?" She kind of looks a little curious, but doesn't look like she wants to pry too hard.
Without looking away from the card as I'm still reading it, worried a little bit higher than your station allows is not a good business practice one should have.
She kind of raises a hand. Understood. Ballard runs a looser ship. She says, almost as if she was offering like an apology, but not really.
I would finish reading it up, place it. I would just hold on to it and place both my hands behind my back as I am strolling the room. Is there anything else that Horatio would like from me?
No. He mentioned that you were a little testy the last time you spoke. Last few times that you spoke, honestly. Is everything okay?
Things are going exceedingly well. His end should be seen very soon. I have guests coming, ones that I have not seen in a long time. So this opportunity here, waving the invite blindly into the air, this opportunity would be a good cause to catch up. Now, I appreciate very much, as I'm saying this, John hurriedly comes in with a chilled bottle of champagne in an ice bucket and a glass already poured. Hands it to Marcia. I very much appreciate the hand deliverance of these affairs. You'll forgive me if I see myself out now. I would not catch myself on this side of the city too late after dark, for one of your frailty might see unseemly events. If you would like, I could escort you back to Gary.
She kind of nods and takes the bucket and the glass. Well, Ballard said that I should be safe enough, but I wouldn't mind an escort.
John, see the lady home. And I would walk out of the room at that point, leaving John and Marcia.
She kind of looks to you, Tristan, and then looks to John. There's a little bit of like a disappointment. You know, she had the chance of being escorted in her mind by another vampire, which is always preferable to just another ghoul.
Always leave them wanting more, I say.
All right. Renee, we find you again kind of amongst the streets, still perhaps stalking. At some point, you realize that the kind of the shadowy stoop that you're kind of tucked away in, watching, observing, you realize that kind of across from you, where there's another shadowy stoop, that there's a figure there that you hadn't really noticed before. It's very tall, very slender, very elongated features. And what it is that you notice first about it are the animalistic reflections of its eyes as it's kind of watching you. These two shimmering little pinpricks of light in the shadow. And you can tell, even though you can't make out much detail, that this is the form of a Nosferatu.
I cock my head in curiosity. I know full well that if Nosferatu doesn't want you to see them, you don't. And so this can't be by chance. I'm going to fold my book up, put it into my bag, and zip myself up, like take my pieces of cardboard, very important, and wrap them with a little piece of string and put them in between my backpack straps so that when I put my backpack on, they stay there. And I'm going to remain seated and look sort of in a way that he knows or she knows I have a sense for them, but I am not watching them directly. And if they'd like to approach me now, they could do so.
I think you kind of, make this clear, look up in that direction and kind of look away, just for the briefest of moments. And when you look back, the shadow's gone and it's changed. It's just now the darkened stoop. And then you realize that out of the corner of this stoop that you're in, this figure emerges, almost floating, not really even stepping, just kind of melting out of the shadows, looming over you. And the clothing that they're wearing it's so outdated. It looks like a costume that somebody might wear, during Halloween or going to a particular, kind of concert. This long draping clothing that kind of helps to elongate them even further. They come forward and with a tilt of the head indicate the mailbox of the building that is beside the stoop where you have been kind of knelt down here. It just kind of looks to this box and then back to you.
I'm going to sigh and cross my arms. The unspoken implication not missed by me. Someone living on the street here, they slipped right by me and put it right next to me without me noticing. Very frustrating. But I then kind of let my arms go down, defeated, walk around to the mailbox and pull it open. And I presume I see an envelope.
You do, in fact, see an envelope.
Take that out.
When you remove this, you find, again, much the same. This fancy invitation with a handwritten note on the back of it. Looking back up, the Nosferatu is nowhere to be found.
This looks important. And I'm looking over it. I think you said I already opened it. Yeah, so I'm looking over it, reading it, taking it in, looking at the time again. I knew this was coming. I'm such a slacker. This is right around the corner, and as usual, here I am. Nothing to wear.
I have it on good authority that Marco is currently outfitting himself.
How long do we have for this? It is this evening, right? Or
no, it's like a few days from now. Yeah.
So I'm going to just start thinking about places I've seen. These are not places that I've taken note of because they're not usually places I care for. But I'm thinking about the domain. I'm trying to think of good tailors. It's too late in the evening tonight, but I'm going to be setting like a medium term plan here for the following evening. to locate a tailor that would be able to do a good enough job on a unusually shaped person like myself, tall and slender, and make plans to get that done tomorrow night. Thanks for the reminder, I say, and I kind of gesture, and I know there's a 99% chance that there's nobody there when I say it, but there's also a 50% chance that they might be close enough to hear it. And so I say that and gesture.
Absolutely. And here in the the windy city, you feel that little slight movement of breeze that always seems to kind of accompany an interaction with a Nosferatu. This kind of unexplainable sensation on your skin of the wind kind of blowing across you. If you were alive, you might describe it as a chill up your spine. Briggs, you are at your hotel, but you're in your workshop. Do you have other employees at this hotel?
Yes, I have several.
Okay. So it's one of these individuals that comes knocking on the door to your workshop, which I imagine stays closed when you're down here, if not also locked.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, they know better than to come in, or at least try to come in. So they do the knock. I take a moment to set my things down, place everything in a very specific order so I know exactly how to put the machine back. And I go up the stairs and I open the door slightly just so my head can pop up. Yes.
Sorry to disturb you, but this came for you, and I tried to get a name from them, and they wouldn't give it to me. They just said that it had to be delivered directly into your hands.
Oh,
It wasn't the usual mail carrier, so
it was just a random individual.
yeah, kind of a creepy looking dude, to be honest.
I
It
see.
kind of gave me the willies.
Hmm. I'll take the, is it like an envelope? You said?
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh,
Hmm.
yes. Here. He kind of puts it in the
I
gap
examine
of
to
the
make
door
sure.
in the doorway.
I'll examine to make sure it has not been opened.
No, it is not.
Hmm. Well, thank you so much for bringing it to me. Is everything okay upstairs, aside from the creepy gentleman or individual that brought you this letter?
Yeah, the night's been pretty quiet so far. Most of the guests seem like they've turned in for the evening. Um, there's a couple of kids running in the hallway making some noise, but I called the room and told them that they needed to bring the kids in, and everything's fine.
Hmm.
Did
Good, good,
did you
good.
need anything else?
No, I just wanted to let you know that you were doing a fantastic job upstairs.
Thanks. I not having been here for very long. It's kind of hard to judge, how things are going. And
I'll place my hand on his shoulder. You're doing a great job. Let me know if
thanks.
anything comes up, and I will
Uh,
close the door.
of course, Mr. Briggs. And he kind of turns and he heads back towards the front.
Take out a knife. Let's see what we've got here. Hmm.
Lo and behold, we as the audience see our fourth copy of this invitation with a handwritten note from the seneschal on the back.
From the seneschal. Tonight. Oh, a few nights from now, yes? All right then. Should give me enough time to finish my project, and I will tuck the letter away and begin, continuing my night and silently preparing.
Okay. So, what are the chances, I wonder, that Marco and Renee end up at the same tailor?
Oh,
I mean,
well,
Tristan would have recommended one, so
Oh,
pretty high, I
okay.
would say.
Maybe all three of them.
Probably the one that is open extremely late at night compared to the other ones.
Right. I
yeah.
imagine that there's only a few that are. There
I
might
would say
even.
between
Oh, sorry. Go
that
ahead.
and our friendship and old style taste and refinement and so on would probably give us like actually a fairly good chance, 85 to 80% chance of being at the same tailor.
Perfect. I imagine too that maybe like this tailor he's like a septuagenarian or an octogenarian. Like he's been doing this a very long time. And his shop has been there for that long, you know. So I think that this is probably who y'all have been going to for quite some time. And maybe he doesn't know for a fact what all of you are, but he kind of just doesn't really bring it up. He definitely seems like he probably understands that something's not quite right, because over the 30, 40 years or what have you that y'all have been coming here, if not longer, none of you have really aged. And he just doesn't really bring it up. Or if he does, it's purely in a complimentary way. You know, you don't look a day over 30, you know, kind of thing.
That's just because your eyes are going.
Well, that's true, along with everything else. He kind of says dismissively.
So if we're both there, I think what happens is that Marco comes out of one of the fitting rooms that he was getting fitted, and he noticed somebody's in there, but he probably doesn't look right away. He just goes and sits down next to them without paying attention by looking at his phone.
And you, Mr. Reeves, I see that you've changed your cut.
You
I'm
know
still
what this
good.
is. Oops.
I'm
Someone
still good for now, Shangreta. I'm still good. I'm here directing my friends to a little better than what they've got.
Well, as always, I appreciate your patronage. You've always been good to us.
And we appreciate stuff folded bills into his jacket pocket. The discretion.
I think you guys would all hear another jingle of the bell as Briggs walks in as well. Oh, thank God you're open. You're the only person open at this hour. Oh, well, hello there, everyone. Everyone's getting a new suit tonight as I take off my jacket and I begin to throw it over my arm and begin to point out exactly what needs to be fixed up.
I think when he finally looks at at him and then he looks around, oh shit, the boys are back in town.
Can Tristan make an insight check, or not an insight check, a perception check to see if Briggs has any like telltale signs that he's been working tonight?
I'm good with it. Want to get a contested roll?
Interesting. What? Hmm.
How well, if in fact Briggs had been working, how well did he clean up?
Oh, God. I got a dice pool of 4 for this.
Okay.
I don't have the greatest poker face when it comes to this. I got 1 success, brother.
Okay.
I have I have a not a bestial failure.
Messy critical?
Yes, a messy crit.
Interesting.
How many successes?
5 total.
Jesus
4
Christ.
Wow.
Do you mind if I describe how he reads
Please
me like
do.
a book?
Please. Yeah, absolutely.
You've known me for a good long time. You know what I get up to. And you know Briggs has some particular ticks, some giveaways. Briggs has a habit of not being able to sit still for a moment. The small things will take his attention, and his hands are always occupied by something, except in the occasion when he's had a chance to indulge himself in one of his favorite pastimes. And you see Briggs's hands are steady. He is focused on you all, and he's not playing with anything in his pocket. He's not trying to look for something to occupy his incredibly overclocked mind on. So you know for a fact, dead giveaway, there's no way that I have not indulged tonight in some manner of well, you know what I get up to.
Briggsery.
And as he finishes sizing him up, I think I step out of the changing room, and I'm kind of finishing my last two buttons, and I don't really know what they were talking about, so I just kind of glance up at everybody, and I put my arms out to check the size. I say, "Well, what do you think? I think it has a bit of je ne sais quoi. It's very nice."
Put it up
And
well.
you see him wearing this sort of well-fit eggplant colored suit with lots of the modern touches and alterations made to fit very well. And yeah, it's a nice suit, odd color, nice suit.
The old man says, I had to take quite a bit of material out of this in order to make it fit your frame, sir, but I think the length on the sleeves should be good now.
I would say so. It comes back just perfectly when you reach out. I like it.
He nods at the appreciation.
I will take it.
Renee,
Yes.
it is fantastic to see you, but why are you not immediately staying with me? Where have you been?
Doing my work. I've just gotten back recently, or fairly recently. I need to work up a stock of potential targets, and that's best done at the street level. You know, see what people don't want when they don't know you're there to see them.
I won't have you staying out in the street, though, so you must stay at my hotel. I have a room just for you, I promise.
I will retrieve all my things from my current abode. Oh, look.
They're all on you. Look at that.
Here they are.
He's always the fast packer, isn't he? I'm quite
I
the
guess I
opposite.
can get rid of the cardboard, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite the opposite. As I'm getting ready to be fitted, I'm like, let me take all the things out of my pockets, and I just start taking all these small trinkets and like, I'm like the EDC guy you see on like YouTube. He's got like 8 million things in his pockets. You don't actually know how he carries all these things, but he seemingly does, well hidden on himself.
Very nice accoutrements. Briggs, you've done well for yourself.
Well, the hotel basically runs itself at this point, so you know me, I must occupy my mind. I always have a couple of projects in the going at the same time.
You have a watch. That's a good idea. I should get a watch. Like
Yeah,
one of those ones
Mhm.
on the chains, though, like I used to have. You keep
I
it in your
used to have one
pocket.
of those. I've upgraded. See, look at this watch here. And I go into, I don't know anything about watches, but Briggs does, and he goes into like a full diatribe, and unless one of you stops him, he will continue explaining onto the immaculate little machinations of a watch for the next 10, 15 minutes. So someone please stop him.
The longer you go on, Briggs, uh, the worse my opinion that this is an upgrade. No, I'll take the old watches. They worked quite in fact, I'll bet you that other one's still working. I sold it to a pawn shop. I don't even know why.
You
Briggs,
can't
when you
possibly be hurting for money.
I'm not. Between me and you, don't tell any of them though.
Briggs, when you step up onto like the small little dais that has like the mirrors around it, so you can kind of see yourself from multiple angles. you catch a very quick glimpse into your own eyes, and I think we flash back to some time previous. How did Briggs obtain this particular watch?
Oh, interesting. Well, Briggs flashes back as he's talking about the watch, absentmindedly going on and on, before he is stopped, as he sees a young man, on a basically it's you see like a grainy like video camera footage of a young man, um, mistreating his spouse or his girlfriend, not quite sure, but there's video of unfair treatment there. She leaves upset. Briggs smiles and presses a button on a panel in his workshop. When the gentleman later goes to bed to watch some television, um, gas fills the room, knocking him unconscious. The memory cuts to him locked in a small windowless concrete cell, trying to find a way to get out. Um, with him watching him on a camera and with all of that young man's things just spread out before him, and he's just admiring the watch he is currently wearing, tinkering with it, adjusting it, saying, "Oh, it's a few seconds slow." And I will flash back to the present.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. We find this, brief little interlude in Briggs' mind just as a flash, and now we're back in this tailor's shop. Unless there's anything else that you wanted to do or get up to while you're here, the suits are tailored. They're fitted to you according to whatever instructions it is that you're able to that you're looking for. And before long, you're gonna go your separate ways. Is there anything else that that you want to do before the night of the party at the Prince's Penthouse?
Tristan would pen a letter to Christiana, lamenting that another event with the court is being held, and I am not arriving with her on my arm. And I send it with a ghoul to a trusted messenger. Then I spend the next night or so in the hotel, in the penthouse, brooding.
I will just go back, maybe not that night, but shortly thereafter, to the hotel as I was invited, and take up my residence there, insisting on the smallest, most, out of the way room that loses him the least money, and setting up my meager possessions, perhaps even gaining a few over the course of the next day or so, as one does when they have a place to put their stuff. They tend to fill it. I don't know what those things might be off the top of my head, but I could probably think of some in a few minutes. But yeah, so just kind of doing some shopping, sort of thing that other people would consider basics.
My employees would not have it. I told them specifically when they see you to take you to a very specific room, and that they are not allowed to take any money from you, not even a tip.
I'll still be good. Yeah, thank you. I will go out and get like a new backpack, that sort of thing. But I will begrudgingly accept the larger room. But like all my stuff will be in one corner, by the bed.
you'll have the finest Jan sport.
Huzzah.
What are there any of the frivolities? Are there any of the little delicacies that Renee does enjoy, that he does partake in while he's here?
Yes. So probably at first on his own, but then immediately Briggs's assistants take over doing it because they insist. But I insist on getting myself fresh flowers every morning. Well, every first part of the evening. So that's something that would probably start being there when I woke up after a while, and I'd shake my head and just be like, "Oh, Briggs." And the really the only other thing is that he does like to keep a mirror in his room as well. He has no compunctions with mirrors or issues with them as a result of a clan, and so he likes to have one.
Then when Marcos goes back to go to the hotel, his room is by one of the fire escapes because sometimes he needs to go in and out. And as he climbs the fire escape and he goes in to go into through the window, he realized that one of the guys who cleans the room probably went in there and locked the window. And he's like, God damn it! So he just makes a claw, does a circle, flicks it, put his head in there. God damn it!
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is on the grounds of the hotel?
Yeah, it's probably like the third floor that he's at. So, they probably, I would imagine that they will probably like the alarm might go off in one of the cameras and they see him sneaking in.
I could see that, yeah. I'm just immediately watching you on the camera. Could have just come in the front door. Well, I'll just charge him. I'll call the manager at the front. You can turn off the alarm. I'll take care of this.
Everything okay, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. I've been tinkering with the alarm system. And well, you know how I get sometimes. I attach the wrong wire to the other wire. No worries. But I'll go upstairs and fix it right now.
Very well. Should I call up to room 303 to see if everything's okay?
Uh, you know what? I think I'll pay them a personal visit and say hello. I'm sure they'd like to
Okay.
see the owner. Thank you, though.
Sure thing, Mr. Briggs. He'll hang up the phone.
Yep. And I will speedily walk upstairs. Marco, Marco, Marco. So many leniencies I'll give people, but you broke a window.
What it,
I'll make my way
yeah.
to the room. I won't knock, I'll just open the door.
Yeah, as you go in, he's putting the suit in like a hanger, like by one of the closet doors. He's like, "Oh, about time you got over here."
Yes, yes. If only I'd gotten here soon enough to open the window for you.
Well, you see that shit? They locked they locked the window, and he goes by and see it's broken. And he kicks it. See, you need to get better workers that don't know how to work things right.
Yeah, I see. I can see very well that we need to take better care of this room. I see. Marco, Marco, Marco. You are a lovely individual. But you test.
I'll pay for it. Just tell him not to lock my window because sometimes I gotta do some job for keys, and I gotta get out and in quickly, and they're making my job harder. Okay.
Yeah, I see. All right. All right, I understand.
Also, you look lovely this evening.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, he physically, like, you can see him literally, like, beginning to de-escalate.
I think he goes up to you and he
Mm.
pulls out a long hair with blood on it. He smells it. Saying you've been busy.
Huh. You're too good at your job, I think, as he takes that one away.
So sometime I'm gonna have to teach you some tricks. You just can't tell anybody that I taught you because not good for me.
Oh, no, I'm quite aware. Well, I will hold you to that, and maybe we can make a bit of a trade, a fair trade, as I say. But the night is getting late, and I will go tell my employees to leave your room untouched, windows and all. All right?
Sounds good.
I'll have them fix the window by the time you come back tomorrow.
I appreciate it. You have a good evening. And he goes to go to sleep and he just goes into the bathroom and slams the door.
That makes perfect sense, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So the night of the party arrives. You all wake for the evening. Let's go ahead and get those rouse checks. See how hungry we are tonight.
Succeed. Don't gain
Okay.
hunger.
I failed. The
Ooh.
excitement of last night has made me peckish.
Briggs is
I
at 2.
succeed. I do not
Okay.
get hungrier.
What about you, Marco?
I succeed as well.
Succeed. Okay, so everybody's at 1, except for Briggs, who is at 2. Okay,
Rousing
got that.
success.
One more time.
I just said rousing success.
Rousing success. Okay. So you wake for the evening. You're able to, you have an hour or two at least to yourself before you really kind of have to start getting ready. But you're able to dress your finest if you'd like. And then are you all headed to the party together or separately? And is anybody planning on not honoring the request to go early?
I would offer us a way to get there as a group in an SUV directly to the front door.
Renee would jump at that, as foot was the only other way he would get there.
Marco will take it as well.
I would gladly accept, but I would like to take that little bit of free time at the beginning of the night to maybe, top off my tank, so to speak.
Oh, sure.
Catch a little bite.
You never want to go to a party hungry.
No, 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 no. Especially not with my tastes. Uh,
Okay.
no.
So let's get Briggs fed. Now, is this local? Is this, are you just looking in the pantry, so to speak?
Yes, yeah, I figured I
Okay.
would have. Sorry, I was just looking at my page
No,
to
you're all
see.
good. All
Uh,
good.
I figured if it was okay with you, I can just. Maybe I've got someone downstairs. Uh,
Ooh, okay. Frozen
mhm,
dinner.
so to speak. Yeah.
On call,
Yeah.
ready for you.
Mhm. This is me pulling up a camera to see how he's doing inside that same guy you saw from my memory.
Oh wow.
Somewhat emaciated, given up basically at this point, no longer scratching at the walls because well, quite frankly, he's got no fingernails left at this point from his desperate attempts. And like, oh, okay, perfect. And I turn on the gas. He goes back to sleep, and well, I'll do what I do.
He's like Edmond Dantes and Chateau d'If at this point. He's got this,
Mm,
massive beard. His hair's long,
yes.
like, nothing but almost bone on him. Um,
If, if you don't
so,
mind,
go
oh,
ahead,
sorry, go on.
please.
I was gonna say, I figure since he's been here, I think it might be shooting. It's like I don't drain him, but he's been drunk from so much that I can feel him pass in my arms after I drink. I'm like, oh, That's a shame. Oh well, and I'll take him to the furnace. Uh, a bit of care. I turn on the furnace and I let it heat up. I'll put him on this specialized basically gurney, very similar to what they would have in what are they called? Not
Crematorium.
mausoleums. Yes, crematorium. Thank you.
Mhm.
You could tell, but the bars have been in and out of that superheated structure several times. I cover him in a brand new white sheet. I tuck him in, and I put a single crafted metal rose on him as I put him in and allow him to burn to ash and the metal rose to melt down, fuse with that ash, which I will collect later. But I'll let this baby cook and clean myself up, dab myself off. All right, I've got a SUV to catch. Go upstairs.
Perfect. And draining, we already covered, reduces you to 0, right?
Well, I just took the one and I just figured he died.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Because he just didn't have any more extra blood to support himself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I
So
don't
just puts
drain
you at
people
1.
too often. Renee got on my case about that too many times back in the mid 1800s. I can't get his voice out of my head sometimes.
All right, fantastic.
Would Briggs's humanity be at a level where that wouldn't cause a stain?
Oh,
Oh
now see,
no.
now I'm definitely showing my ignorance here. Yeah, what is this might be an impertinent question. What is Briggs's humanity at? Is that information that you're willing to divulge?
I mean, mechanically speaking, that's fine. I'm at
Okay.
humanity 5. It's not entirely super low.
Okay.
It has been lower at times.
Right.
I am currently on the upswing. I'm surrounded by friends. I've got activities. I'm not spiraling, so to speak.
I like how
But
this is him on good behavior.
yes, this is me on good behavior. Me on bad behavior. Well, there's a reason this place got shut down in the first place.
Absolutely.
That's why you
Fantastic.
have us here.
Yes.
Okay. So Tristan, what vehicle is it that takes the 4 of you to the penthouse? What do we see?
Oh, this would be a freaking gaudy, like one of the um H2 Hummer, like not the military like looking Hummers, but those like
Like the commercial?
yeah, the ones that look like every suburban douchebag that thinks he's a superhero drives. It would be one of those, but it would be fitted for security detail. So
I was gonna ask.
while it's not exactly bulletproof, it will absorb some damage that might get thrown its way if such things break down.
Nice. It is armored. Okay.
Yes,
And one of your ghouls is driving, I assume?
always.
All right. So the 4 of you are seated in this H2 Hummer. And I imagine like maybe even like the back has been arranged where like there's 2 rows of seats that face one another. Almost like you would see in a non-stretched limousine. And the 4 of you are seated 2 by 2 as the lights of the buildings downtown begin to illuminate the interior of the car, and the street lamps of each of the city blocks are, washing over you one at a time as you make your way deeper downtown to where the really, really tall buildings are. I don't know that the Sears Tower has residents in it. I don't know. But this is certainly not the tallest building in Chicago, but it is probably one of the nicest views in the city. So is there any conversation that's happening between the four of you about maybe what this could be about, or what your aspirations are for this party as you're approaching?
So for the record, it's now called the Willis Tower, and you can get residents in it.
Oh, perfect. That's good to know. Okay.
Briggs will broach it as he's kind of like absentmindedly looking at the watch of this now deceased gentleman. So we've all been invited at the same time and early. I wonder what that could be as I look pointedly over at Tristan, who must know something.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself, especially so early.
Don't look to me. I'm as clueless on this one as you all are. It's been a minute, a hot minute since Her Majesty has thrown a gala, so tonight should be interesting. Briggs, glad to see you at least cleaned up tonight.
Well, he looks like he would be upset for a moment, and then he's like, "Well, that's fair." Anyone who knows Briggs knows he has a tendency to get disheveled at times at his low points. Well, you know how it goes. One must dress to impress. I would like to insight check Tristan here. Not that I don't trust my good friend, but you know how these things go.
Cool. What should I roll in? Or do you just want a difficulty?
I think usually it's manipulation subterfuge. Well, that is if you're lying. If you're not, then
I'm
I
not.
guess okay. Then I guess persuasion, and either charisma or manipulation up to you.
The storytellers.
Okay, I got 3 successes.
I only got 2.
Okay. But you
Is
really
there
don't
anything?
know.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say, is there anything else that he does manage to glean from Tristan that he manages to read off of him?
Just an air of, and we've been over this. We've had this conversation in decades past. I'm looking out for Briggs. I'm looking out for us. So
You muted yourself, buddy. Yeah, Jason, you muted yourself.
Yep. I don't. Can you hear us?
There you go.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm on my phone and I just had a phone call come in.
No
Oh,
worries.
no worries.
Second. No, you're fine. So really, he just feels an air of caution in Tristan's demeanor. I am here to make sure this goes without a hitch, and my companions are not on the wrong end of the court, as it were.
Okay then. Yeah. So all of that, I'm just like looking at you very pointedly and saying, okay. Well, I guess we will have to be on our best behavior tonight, won't we all?
I don't know about that, but yeah.
I am always on my best behavior, I think.
You are, aren't you?
As best as I can be, given the
Mhm.
scenario. Whatever that scenario is, I'm sure. I'm very reasonable, Kindred.
Okay. You ride on before pulling into the circular covered driveway out in front of this apartment building. It's almost like pulling up to a casino in Vegas. This is a very well lit. There's already a line of cars, and there's a lot of kindred and their retinues that are going to be arriving soon, and there's a lot of preparations being made. Um, this is not a party that the public would necessarily be aware about, beside just a bunch of rich people are getting together. That's what they see from the outside, at least. You're brought up. Valet comes out, opens the doors, and will escort you into the lobby of this immaculate building. You walk in, and the floor to ceiling windows of the front of this building reach probably 3-4 stories up before this lobby area becomes actual usable building again. You can see across there is a bank of elevators that face this open space, also glass lined so that you can see when the elevators are coming and going from the first floor. There is a couple of armed security guards, even for this time of night, who are standing around, not overly looking like they expect any trouble, just their presence seems to be sufficient usually. You know that you head to one of these elevators and you'll have to take it to, like the 10th floor before you can change over to the private elevator that will take you to the penthouse. You can see that there is one of the prince's ghouls is waiting by the express elevator, and as you enter, after you've shown your invitations to this individual kindred, or not kindred, this individual ghoul, they will open the elevator and call it down with a swipe of a key card, and allow you to then step inside and make your way up to the penthouse. Anything else that you want to discuss or do or say before you arrive at the penthouse?
Just waiting to see what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
The elevator is much nicer than the one that you rode from the ground floor up here. This one is lined with like crushed velvet and has what you're fairly certain is real gold kind of inlaid around these decorative panels in here. The wood is a very, very rich old oak, and you rise up a number of stories up to the penthouse. The doors ding and slide open, and you find yourself in a place that some of you have probably been a few times at least. This is the prince's apartment, and there is a number of people who are milling about, getting ready. Caterers, a DJ that's kind of setting up. Bartenders are kind of making ready. But overall, it seems like other than the people that are working this event, that you are the first guests here. The penthouse is sizable on its own, but the amount of space that it has outdoors is rivaled by none other in the city. There are 2 different bars up here. There is a swimming pool and a hot tub, and a ton of seating here. It gives, like I said, an immaculate view of the city at night. And especially here at this elevation, the wind is cold and crisp this evening. As you arrive, one of the bartenders will offer, is there something that you would like as far as refreshments go? They indicate this little private cabana, and you can see that there are a number of scantily clad individuals who are kind of in various stages of lounging.
If it's okay, storyteller, I forgot to have said this before, but knowing we were coming to a party, I would likely have roused my blood to
Okay.
Yeah, Blush is live.
to blush of life so that I could drink and eat if I wanted to while I was here. I do
Okay.
fail that, so I do have a hunger of 2.
Ooh, okay, cool.
But my appearance is flush and human-like and lifelike. So I
believe
yeah,
I would do that as well.
I follow them. I'm smiling the whole time. I'm looking at my suit. I look back at the group and I say, "See, this is why I dress so nicely. You know, they quite clearly are of impeccable taste. I always forget each year until I come back."
So also I felt the rouse as well, so to that.
Oh,
I
okay.
as well. I also failed.
Fantastic. You did say, Marco, that you failed, so you're at 2. Renee is at 2. Tristan is at 2.
Briggs is back at 2.
Briggs is back. Oh,
Yeah,
all
I blush of
right.
life pretty frequently with my interactions with mortals, and so this wouldn't have been any different.
Fantastic. So everybody's getting a little peckish. I like it. So you know that the prince would not hire individuals that weren't at least somewhat aware of what's going on. So this little bungalow that's kind of off to the side that contains these scantily clad individuals, of various, ages and genders and sizes and shapes. That this is refreshments for those that are willing or wish to partake, in addition to the array of food and drinks that are being prepared. It's kind of a suit your fancy, if you will, whatever the taste may be. You would also know that if, in fact, there were any desired narcotics, that they would probably also be readily available to anybody that wanted them. So, for those of you who did prepare yourselves to possibly consume food and drink, what is one thing that we see you indulging in?
Tristan is carrying around a tumbler of whiskey, but has yet to bring it to his lips. Just carrying it around for appearance, really. I roused just to not look like a corpse walking around. I wanted to appear and feel as lively as possible. His mood is jovial, making small talk with whoever uh, whoever he comes across first little while here. I am decidedly not partaking in any of the actual refreshment offered.
Marco would ask for bourbon on the rocks, and he would shake it and smell it and walk around like that for a while, just every so often smelling it, but not drinking it.
It smells great, don't it?
And Renee kind of is, of course, matching for the same reasons. He grabs a glass of champagne as it passes by, and he gives it a sniff, and he goes, "This is real champagne." And he takes a little sip at least, and like tastes it around in his mouth, and then proceeds to sniff it, occasionally taking a little taste as he goes.
Briggs is just hanging around. He's not partaking in anything.
Understood. After you've been here for a few minutes, 5, 10 at the tops, you see another individual come from out of the actual penthouse apartment itself. Impeccably dressed individual, a man of a decent stature, very, very well. A lot of attention has been spent to his appearance. Wears a few different rings on both of his hands. He is kind of currently adjusting one of them as he walks out. The very like snap, distinct sound, the percussion of his dress shoes making a rhythmic fall on the stones that form the floor out here. And approaching is the Seneschal of Chicago, Oliver Harden. He walks out to see the group of you, and he kind of motions for you to gather together. If you would, please. Gestures towards some of the seating that's kind of away from where most of the party preparation is taking place.
Good evening, Oliver. It is good to see you again.
You as well, Tristan.
How long has Oliver been the Seneschal? Like, would he have been the last time I was here, or no?
How long ago were you here last time?
About 75 to 70 years ago.
No, I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say I don't think all. No. He would have been. Okay. I don't think he would have been in Chicago at all.
Okay. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rene Rodin. At your service.
Rene Rodin. I've heard a little about you. You're a difficult kindred to track down.
That is a feature, not a bug.
Ah, I see. If only, he says, almost wistfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of it is possible, for others it is not.
No.
For me, it works. However, I am here now.
I do appreciate all of you coming and agreeing to meet with me. I have some unfortunate business to discuss with you. He indicates the table that you're all kind of now gathered around. And there is another envelope that is sitting on this table. This one a little larger than the ones that the invitations came in. Some new information has come to light recently, and I am afraid that it does somewhat affect each of the four of you.
In what way?
He reaches down and he grabs this envelope and opens it, breaks the seal on it, reaches inside, and he pulls out what are modern sized photographs. They look like they're printed on modern photo paper, but you can see even from this distance, judging by the tone, that these are made from very old negatives. He hands you a stack of them. Whenever you look, there's another flash, a flashback to another time, similar to what we saw with Briggs before. But this one is a memory of yours, Tristan. We see, from your point of view, several of these photographs, almost as if they're the recreations of your memories. You see pictures of the crime scene of the Valentine's Day massacre. The carnage that was caused, the bullet holes all over the brick wall, the tire marks making a quick exit out of the garage, the few cases of whiskey that you might not have gotten loaded onto the truck, a few broken bottles. And there's another space that we see as you are getting into the truck and then driving it out of the garage. The camera stays where it is, and we see like a false hatch in the floor that is barely visible in the darkness. And we see this now recreated as a black and white sepia tone slight photograph of this hidden hatch being slit open. Another picture of inside of this hatch there being a coffin that is open. And inside, you see the body of Dean O'Banion. And what I would like to know is, from any of you, any of the four of you, what would be a telltale sign that a kindred had been diablerized?
The kindred that had been devoured, there, depending on their age, wouldn't be much left of them. However, the signs would be of the diablerist. Anybody with the abilities to see the second sight, aspects, able to see auras, would see thick black veins coursing through, in an unmistakable sign that this kindred had broken one of the oldest laws of our kind. And I forget how long that stays, but it's a while. I think it depends on the age, the generation, several factors on
think there's
exactly how long
humanity,
that
too.
stays. Yeah, humanity as well.
Okay. So, in these photographs, then, I think the evidence that you can see of this heinous act having taken place is that Dean O'Banion had not been killed, or at least what you thought was killed. until only a few days or weeks before you carried out this massacre. But in these pictures, he is a husk. He looks more like a mummified individual. And I think that might be enough to make you understand that he had been diablerized.
You forgive me, Oliver, but why are you showing us crime photos of almost 100 years ago?
He says, "We are only just now finding these. This is a roll of negatives that was thought lost. It was recovered recently. And when we developed the film," he indicates the picture that you're holding, "we were quite shocked at what we found. Did you know anything about this?" He looks to each of you in turn.
Not an inkling. At the time, if I recall, Banyan had been claimed dead for a couple of years.
He kind of nods.
I
And
hear
kind of-
much, but I've not heard any of this.
I never saw the guy before.
I have no idea.
He kind of nods as if maybe he was expecting these kind of answers. He takes the photographs from Tristan, kind of stacks them together neatly before sliding them back into the envelope and closing it and resealing it. Can any of you account for the whereabouts of Five Keys Vorvalakis that night?
Yeah, he was with us through
No
the
way he
entire
did it.
attack.
The whole time.
He watched the exit for us as we did our work.
None of us were there at the exit, though. And he's the one that picked us up. So he could have done anything before that, before he picked us up. And then we left in a hurry. He wasn't with us, was he?
Yeah, he was taking us to the warehouse. Yeah.
We followed in the trucks, the whiskey
Mm.
trucks, remember?
Okay. Well, he was all alone in the back. And that took a
Just
good
so
5 minutes at least.
just so I understand the implications here, Oliver. Are you saying a sitting sheriff is guilty of breaking the sixth?
He kind of taps this envelope on the corner of the table. The prince is going to announce a bloodhound, or a blood hunt, tonight at the end of the party. The target is, in fact, Five Keys, the sheriff of Chicago.
Renee immediately looks at Tristan, knows how he feels about him.
Because your reputations have been dragged into the mud on this, he kind of indicates the photos again, kind of in the envelope in his hand. I thought that I would give you a little bit of a heads up. A head start, if you will. If you happen to find him first and deal with him, I imagine that would go a long way to clear your names.
It's quite generous of you.
He kind of pulls his watch up. He says, if the prince delivers her message when she intends, that gives you about a 2-hour head start.
Will we be missed at the party?
Certainly. But I've already asked the prince for her permission. She knows that you're likely to not be here.
Okay.
With Renee glancing over at Tristan, you would see a predatory glint like shine across my eyes, but my face would be stoic and unmoving. It was the last time anyone saw Five Keys.
A week ago.
Hmm.
He had business with your friend, Ballard. And then he disappeared.
Well, ain't that fucking convenient?
Hmm. All right, then. Looks like the hunt's on, boys.
Very well. He kind of stands up and adjusts the cuffs of his jacket, tucking the envelope of photographs kind of into the breast pocket of his suit. He says, well, if there are no more questions, Tristan, I would like to speak with you for just a moment alone.
I got a quick question. Is he the only person that you guys think did it? You guys don't think anybody else did?
What was the last part of what you said, Jose? Sorry.
He's asking them if there's any other person that they believe did it, or it's just him.
He says, at the moment, he is our primary suspect. The prince would not have ordered a blood hunt on him otherwise. If he tries to tell you otherwise, he's probably lying. He just says, La Sombra, and he kind of like turns a corner, like a smile at the corner of his mouth, as if like this was totally expected.
Simply can't be trusted. As I get up and walk away so that you can have your private conversation with Tristan.
I stand
Marco will
and
go behind him.
fall in behind Marco.
Okay. A few of the guests are starting to arrive, and you're able to make small talk if you wish, catch up with a few other kindred that maybe you haven't seen in a little while. And Tristan, Oliver kind of takes you by the elbow for a moment, and just to kind of guide you a little bit towards, like, maybe like the half wall at the edge of this kind of open air courtyard that kind of looks out over the streets below. He says, I know that your relationship with Five Keys has always been tumultuous. But you have served under him as a loyal hound for a long time. How does this sit with you? Uh-oh. Do we not have Jason? Oh no. We might not. Okay.
You can always go forward, and then when he comes
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
go
yeah.
back to that moment.
Absolutely. Okay. So, is there anything else that you want to do at this party? Do you want to stay for a little while? Do you want to leave and begin your hunt?
Renee would look at the others, and he's speaking with the assumption that we'll be leaving to get on this hunt. Given the option between these two activities, he'd rather stalk someone and find them in the city of Chicago than stand here and gossip. So he is hoping that's what's going on, but he looks at the others and he's hovering by the door because, again, he doesn't want to get lost in this party and distract. So he looks at them and says, so, we obviously wait for Tristan, but then we should get going, I suppose. Get on with this? He's probably right. It would be best for us to find him. Remove all doubt that we had anything to do with it.
Absolutely. Yes. No need to bring any unneeded attention to ourselves. Yes.
Marcos looks up over you. Yeah, we need to get this figured out, but I really don't think he did it. I think they're just trying to get rid of it. And you would notice if you look at him that he just every I don't know if you noticed other times, but he's like defending peace a lot. Like I've been working with him lately, the past few months. Well, I've been here for a little while now, but I don't see him doing that. I think they're full of shit.
Really? Interesting.
I picked up on that myself. Ask no questions. They're
Mhm.
probably lying, but still,
Yeah.
I select my victims by who has done more good than bad, and Keys would fall firmly in my bad list. So if the gloves are off, then what's the harm?
What kind of work have you been doing with keys?
That is a good question. What have you been doing with
Um,
Keys?
what I'm good at, taking out targets, finding people that don't want to be found. That type of
You've been
thing.
his hitman lately.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. When was the
It
last time you
pays.
saw him?
How long has it been since I saw him?
Well, my inclination is to say at least a week. Is that the case?
Um, it depends. Is that something that this guy would want known or not known? Please, like it was like a private thing or just a normal.
If you met with him less than a week ago, his behavior would have been very strange. And you probably would have gotten the impression that he didn't necessarily want your meeting to be public.
Okay, then I would say I met with him about a month ago. Just a quick job. It's been a while. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I suppose we'll have to figure out how to find him.
You can always look at his plays and let's see if he left any clues.
Yes, we could do that. We'll have to find out where his place is. Oh, you said you know where his place is?
Yeah, no his plays, but
Good.
Perfect.
I might have to pick it up next time with when Jason's back.
Mm-hmm. This is where I was going to stop things anyways, was the revelation of who the blood hunt was going to be, what the target was going to be. So this is fine. So this will give us until next session for y'all to come up with like kind of what your approach is going to be, as far as like how you want to set out on this blood hunt, and give you some time to formulate a little bit of a plan and an approach. So,
I'm so glad for that.
oh man, it's okay. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Do you want to go ahead and handle the side conversation with you and Oliver now, or do you want to pick that up the beginning of next session?
We can just pick it up at the beginning of the next session.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, not a problem. So like I was saying, just this will give us time for y'all to plan kind of what your approach is going to be as far as how you want to kick this blood hunt off, what you might want to accomplish kind of in the early stages of this, because obviously a 2-hour head start is not a massive head start. So I imagine that you're going to want to kind of plan that and think about it a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and call it here this evening. I'm going to pass things back over to my players so that they can give whatever parting words or touch again on where you might be able to find them, what they've got going on, and then we're going to call it an evening. So we'll start with Jose again. Here.
Everybody, my name is Jose, also known as Shadow Shoulder PR, and I was playing Marco. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Jeremy. It was a blast, and fun game, but sadly, what has happened recently is rough. But I just hope that the family's all right and they're just in a better place. And I'll pass it to Tristan.
Hello, everybody. It's Jason. Just a guy that likes to roll dice with my friends online. Yeah, just bouncing right off of Jose. Tonight was hella cool. I always enjoy playing Vampire. And Jeremy taking to like a fish to water, man. So this is going to be real cool. I very much appreciate you doing this. I appreciate everybody here at the table that's been so very enthusiastic about getting this going. It's always awesome playing with this group of guys. They're great. Yeah, end it back up with just sorry for our friend, sorry for his family, and rest easy, dude. That's all I can say. I'll pass it over to Sam.
Yep, I have been Briggs tonight. Like I said, I don't really do much on the internet, but if you care to look up any of this stuff I did back in the past, it'd be under either Three Gorillas or Speak No Evil. I've had a blast tonight. You guys are all fantastic as usual. And Jeremy, you're a fantastic GM, or in this case, storyteller. And I'm having a blast with this character. I cannot wait for the next session. And I'll pass it over to Rory.
Well, thank you very much for having me. This was a great session. I am Rory, or Renee, vagabond, wearer of purple suits, all of these things. And it was a really great time. Thank you very much.
It was absolutely my pleasure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm nervous whenever I run all of my games, but I'm especially nervous whenever I don't feel like I have a firm foundational understanding of the system that I'm running. And that was definitely the case with this game. I think I'm starting to proc to it. I'm starting to kind of pick it up, which I always learn best as I'm playing. So that stands to reason. But it helps going into a game where all of the players have kind of assured me that everything is going to be fine and are not afraid to help when I have rules questions. That's very, very much appreciated, as well as the four of you bringing such well realized characters to the game, so that way you all know exactly what you're capable of. You don't have to ask me questions about explaining anything that your character does. That's very helpful for me. So thank you. And yeah, I'm super excited for this story that we have kind of already started to build. Trying to incorporate as much from your character's backstory information and all the little anchor points that they have into what I have planned as far as kind of running this tale. So I'm very, very eager to keep revealing things and seeing how that's going to impact what you're going to do. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for agreeing to do this, and thank you, Jose, for putting this together. For all of you who have watched this evening, also a very deep sincere thank you. It means everything to me that there are people that find entertainment with what we do here on the channel, because it sure is entertaining for us. So the fact that there are other people that can gain some pleasure from watching us goof off for a few hours is it blows my mind. So if you did enjoy what you saw tonight, do all the stuff that the algorithm likes to see. You know, hit the like button, subscribe, share the link around with your friends, talk about it. Hell, if you're learning Vampire, hopefully something from this game will help you learn how to play along with me. But yeah, the only other thing I'm going to say is that kindness is a free action. I know this doesn't have free actions, but you get the point. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice to people, to be kind, and it really honestly can make a world of difference to somebody. It could improve their day, their week, their entire year. You don't know. But if it costs you absolutely nothing to give someone such a gift, then why not give it freely? The world could certainly use it. So, all right. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of the weekend, what remains of it, and that the next coming weeks, whenever you happen to watch this, are treating you gently. I think we're going to disappear here into the shadows. But until next time, may your dice always roll high and your snacks always be within reach.